Before we get into this, I really want to stress that this is going to be a very different episode of the tape library. If you just want to hear some paranormal or creepy experiences, then I'll have more of those very soon. But this mystery is something else. What we have here is either one of the most effective examples of a creator utilizing the internet to create horror that I've ever seen, or an unspeakable crime has been committed, and some form of cover-up is underway to hide what has happened. I'm going to have to be very careful with what I show in this video, because the original videos are graphic. You can easily find the uncensored full videos online if you want to, but firstly, I'd strongly recommend against it. And secondly, I'd watch through this video first so you know what you're letting yourself in for. This isn't me trying to dare you to watch them. It is genuinely disturbing content, and I hope that this video will give you enough context so that you won't need to seek them out. So, let's get started with what might be the most disturbing TikTok mystery of all time. It all starts with an urban explorer. He must have been aware of this place for a while, but today was the day that this man decided to head to a long abandoned laboratory somewhere in rural China. It's referred to as a laboratory, but what kind of laboratory it was is unknown. This man is an urban explorer. He's used to exploring relics from China's past. He's a small content creator, but has a channel on the original Chinese version of TikTok, Douyin, although many of his videos can now also be found on Bilibili, another Chinese video sharing website. The explorer's name isn't known, but his channel translates to Beanbag Adventures. He walks up to the imposing building, an old derelict lab, long forgotten by society. The grounds around the area are quiet, overgrown. It seems like no one has been here in quite some time. He takes his time finding a way in, before entering the first floor of the building. If this feels like the setup to a horror movie, well, what's about to happen will back that up. As soon as he entered the building, he was met with an overwhelming smell. The unmistakable smell of death. But that didn't faze our brave explorer, who instead ventured deeper and deeper into the imposing structure. Following the smell led him towards the basement of the laboratory, a dark, foreboding area of the building. A labyrinth of tunnels and small rooms, all made from concrete, almost with the look of a large bomb shelter. Just watching the footage, these tunnels are unnerving. But as a seasoned urban explorer, he isn't afraid. He continues on, wanting to find the source of the strange odour. Finally, as he walked through these dark tunnels, he came across a room that appeared to be the origin of the overpowering smell. He enters the room and discovers something horrifying. He quickly turns on his camera. This is it. After all his years of urban exploring, this is the moment he discovers something that will shock the world. This is, I think, the line that our explorer says, that leads some to think this isn't real, although I think this may be an attempt on his part to get around censorship on TikTok, or simply a mistranslation. He says that everything he has found in here is simply movie props. Having seen the uncensored videos, I do not think this is the case, and many others agree. What he finds in this room looks very, very real. And as someone who has worked on many horror film sets, our props don't tend to reek of death. He also goes on to say, this video will be censored. We all understand in our hearts why. I will say it's worth taking the captions with a pinch of salt. It's very unclear if these have been translated by our explorer himself, or added on later by a third party. He has found what appears to be a concrete pool. partially covered by planks of wood. He looks down to reveal the pool is full of dark water, and floating around in the top appears to be the decomposing bodies of multiple people. Seemingly, mostly the bodies of children, some of which appear to be extremely young. The bodies are grey, bloated, and heavily decomposed. Bones protrude from some areas, others look almost flat. Getting this close to the pool, our explorer is understandably hit with the foul smell and runs away to be sick. This is where the first video ends. And if that was it, then maybe, just maybe, this could be passed off as a hoax. Although again, having seen the uncensored footage, if the bodies shown are indeed fake, then whoever has created them has done an incredible job, even going as far to make sure the different bodies are at various stages of decomposition. Still, this initial video was seen by many as just a social media hoax, or leftover material from a film shoot. Interestingly, if we take this as real, the bodies appear to have been placed there much more recently than the structure would have been in use. This to me doesn't appear to be the remains of some dark experiment that was conducted here. Someone has been placing these bodies inside the lab because it's abandoned, because no one was likely to go down there. I could be wrong, and whatever these bodies are floating in could be slowing down the process. But evidence that comes to light later on suggests this is fairly recent. But here is where things get strange, or stranger at least. Beanbag Adventures continues to post to his Doyen account, exploring more locations, seemingly not making any references to the horrifying discovery in the basement of the abandoned lab. 10 months later, Beanbag Adventures would return to the lab. On December 26th, he returned that morning to the basement room, where he found the bodies of the children. What is chilling is it appears someone else has been there since he last visited. Bottles and tubes are spotted on the ground in the entrance to the room, which were not seen in the original video. Dirty children's clothing has been left on the floor next to the pool. The pool itself now appears to be covered in some sort of tarp. The tarp didn't cover the entire area though, and we can clearly see the bodies that were there last time, although, with time, has brought more decay. Skin had rotted away to reveal bone underneath. Openings in the chest cavities appear to show a lack of internal organs. Had they been removed, or simply decayed away? The bodies that were once bloated look deflated. Again, if this is fake, then the effort that has gone into the look of the bodies is stunning. But something about it just feels too real. Why would you go through so much effort to make two relatively short videos, 10 months apart from one another? It's also worth pointing out, it's difficult to tell 100%, but it appears there are more bodies floating in the water than before. With the addition of the bottles and clothing, it would seem to point out that whoever had left the bodies there had returned during the past 10 months, potentially adding more children to the pool. Our adventurer confirms the date and time in the video, and then promptly leaves.
Bye. The
second video appears to have been met with much less skepticism. The haunting realism of the decaying bodies caused outcry on the site, leading many to now assume that this man had in fact stumbled across a horrifying crime scene. Days later he returned a third time, this time heading deeper into the underground tunnels. He discovered fetuses in jars, and piles of bones stacked high, and bags full of human remains. Whatever had been happening here has been happening for a long time. Many of the skeletons found appear to be that of fully grown adults, suggesting it wasn't only children who had been the victims of whatever was taking place here. There appears to be a fourth video in this series, although some have suggested it isn't the same location, but if we assume it is, our explorer this time appears to be looking around the upper levels of the lab. There he finds children's toys and masks, familiar jars and bottles that we have seen in the basement areas, and to add to the horror, more bones. Nick Crowley has done an awesome job covering this case on YouTube, and if you haven't seen his video on it, I strongly recommend checking it out. Although I've gone over a lot of the same ground, he delves into some possible explanations of what's happening here, including some interesting ideas about the Chinese organ black market, so it's well worth watching if you want to hear more. Also, I'll include a link to Hannah the Horrible's take on the case as well, who goes into more depth on some possible explanations for the events taking place here. The theory of this being some kind of organ farming operation saw many on social media turn their anger towards the Chinese government, with many suggesting they must be involved in some way, which then takes us into our final sinister twist in this story. In January of 2023, the Beanbag Adventure channel would be no more, suddenly disappearing from the website on the 15th, nearly 1 year after his initial discovery. Many assume that the government had stepped in, and with the increase in blame being pointed their way, that they had decided to silence our young explorer and bring an end to the story once and for all. Many assumed this was the end of the tale of Beanbag Adventures. But it wasn't. Just days later, the channel reappeared, all of its videos intact, with 4 notable exceptions. The videos from the lab were gone, and then, stranger still, much like he did after the first video he posted, he just continued posting, updating the channel with his new urban explorer adventures, not mentioning the lab or the disappearance of those videos. I wish this story had a convenient ending. Even the possibility of a concrete explanation of the events taking place in the abandoned lab. But there isn't. The story just reaches a dead end here, with our explorer acting as if the whole thing never happened. There are a few possibilities here. 1. This was in fact a prank that has gotten out of hand, and when people started to seriously question the government's involvement, Beanbag decided to take down the videos. 2. Doyen removed the videos due to graphic content, but reinstated the account after he deleted these videos, although why he would never make reference to them again feels odd. Or 3. Someone has stepped in to try and kill this story before it goes any further, leaving us in an awkward position, because then anyone pressing Beanbag Adventures for more information is potentially putting him in very real danger. No one knows where this lab is. He's never said. I wish I could go there, see for myself what is hiding in the basement. I wonder what we'd find. I wonder if we'd find the still decomposing bodies, or fake movie props. Or perhaps even more sinisterly, nothing at all. Just an empty pool that was once full of horror. So what do you think? I would love to hear any theories you might have on what's happening here, or please share any updates on the case that might have popped up since I wrote this video. This feels like a story that hasn't quite gotten the mainstream attention it deserves, and I think answers are needed. I hope that this is just an elaborate hoax, but the fact it could very well be real makes me think we need to keep talking about this. The fact that there could be so many families out there that have no idea what happened to their children makes my blood run cold. I'm sorry if this has been a bit of a darker subject than usual for the tape library. I'll be back with some more spooky goings on very soon, but this felt too important not to cover. Thank you for sticking with me until the end of this dark rabbit hole. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time.